So after you left Yale or your senior year of Yale, the theme kind of continues where you didn't get a combine invite, but you garnered the attention of quite a few teams, and I saw that some pretty big teams like the Chiefs brought you in, Seattle brought you in for a workout. But when you didn't get that combine invite, what went through your mind? Was it kind of like that Jordan meme that goes around where he's like, "And I took that personal."
I take a lot of things personal, really. I can find anything. Jordan's my favorite athlete. I got him. I got 23 tatted on me, but I always wore 23 growing up. So I take a lot of things personally, but at the same time, it is what it is. I kind of took it as a blessing a little bit too, because it gave me 2 extra weeks to train for my pro day. And I had 2 pro days set up, luckily, and that kind of put me on the map too. So the combine, I trained with a lot of people who went to a little bit bigger schools, and I saw they weren't getting invited, so I kind of felt bad for them. But at the end of the day, as long as I get my times out, they're going to be seen. It's scout's job to find talent, and it was just my time to put out the talent 2 weeks later after the combine. So that was a little bit of a blessing, but it was definitely a chip on my shoulder. Like, they're going to see me regardless, so I got to do what I got to do.
So out of all the NFL teams that you sort of visited with, was there anything memorable about those that stuck out, or what was the most memorable visit you had?
I liked the Arizona visit was my first visit, and it was just crazy to me that this was really taking place. Like, they called me up. I drove back to Connecticut to keep training after my second pro day for just in case I get picked up rookie camps. I just don't want to be out of shape. I'll get back.
You drove from where? You drove from where to Connecticut?
So I was training in Denver. I still go back to Denver every year to train. Drove to St. Louis with my family all right, here we go. In Denver training, flew to New York for a pro day at Fordham, which got moved to Columbia because it started snowing. Flew back to Denver to train for like a week or two, then drove to St. Louis to see my family, then took my car to New Haven, which is like a 17-hour drive, to do that second pro day. Did that, but didn't have to do any testing. Now, because I had the good numbers, they just took me through an hour, 30 minutes of drill work, which I luckily prepared for, but I was not expecting because I already did a pro day and that did not happen. So then all these coaches come, they're like, "Yo, we're gonna just take these drills," and they was just hammering me. I was like, "What's up, bro?" Like, last drill, like, they were 10 minutes. This is an hour and change. Like, but they said I did well, and I didn't complain about stuff. Like, this was like a big test. And then I stayed up there to keep training because now I know that I'm going to be in a training camp, rookie camp. So I want to be in good football shape. So I was just training up there. So now teams are asking about me. They've seen all this film, the test numbers match the film. They want to get me to like see medicals and stuff. So now I went to Yale. So like when we play, we just drive up like upstate to Massachusetts. That's like 2 hours or whatever. Now this team is calling me to like fly me to Arizona for stay 2 days there for to see their coaches and do medicals and stuff. So that was crazy. I'm like sitting here, I'm seeing like dudes walking out the facility like, oh, that's really like Buddha, you know what I'm saying? Then like the next week it was Kansas City. Then like 2 weeks after that was the Jets and Giants. Got to go work out with them, So it was just surreal. And then Kansas City was cool because I've been there like when I was little for basketball tournaments, and I'm sitting in a hotel, like I'm looking over the city that I always used to travel to before. Now it's like there's something totally different. So that was really cool too. But it was just a crazy experience just to see that this is the path that it's starting, but now this is a journey that's starting, but a lot more work has to be done.
So just as an aside, were you I know it's a weird thing with the football, like growing up, were you a Rams fan or a Chiefs fan?
Die-hard Rams fan.
Okay.
And then they left. And when they left, I left them. Yeah. I had no team. I was a Dallas fan for 2 years when Zeke got drafted.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the only game I would watch. I had homework. So I would watch Dallas and then do my homework. But yeah. Then I was basically teamless. So I was straight from whatever. That was my new favorite team.
So what kind of workouts did you do to prepare yourself for like the combine and for your pro day and those workouts for teams, private workouts for teams?
Yeah, so I was training at a facility that kind of had under the radar players, but it was out there in Denver. It was Lauren Landau, and I guess Christian McCaffrey trained with him since he was a child. So you see how he runs, everything's perfect. And then Christian bust out that low 4.4s or 4.3 that one run, whatever. So clearly it was working. So that's one thing I never done was form how to like train myself how to run, like all that form stuff. So that was a big part of it. A lot bigger parts like flexibility I never really focused on, and kind of getting all those little muscles right. That's another big thing. And then at the combine, the pro days, you have specific things like bench press, which if you just bench normally, you might be strong, but you're not going to get a good bench press number. So a lot of it's just how you train. It's not necessarily being at your strongest for that pro day. It's just how you're training for it. So they actually had the formulas to do all that. The different kind of benches, inclines. Getting your back stronger for rows and all that stuff. And then when pro day comes, you want to be at your peak performance. So the week before pro day, you kind of take everything lighter, and then pro day you get out there, you just put on the show. But the trick is after pro day, you got to switch up how you train again to get ready for football and being at your strongest again. So now you have to kind of change your reps up, change the different kind of workouts you're doing. And now you're not just running linearly or doing your normal 5-10-5 cuts. You're trying to get back into football shape. So I think it was important that I went back. When I went up to Yale for that second pro day, I had to make sure I was still working with my coaches, getting back into that football movement and all that football shape in order to be ready to go into training camp right.
That's sort of interesting. What is your opinion about the fact that you almost have to do a whole separate set of workouts that aren't really, I guess, utilitarian or practical in order to just to impress people for the combine, and then like you said, got to go back to regular work?
Yeah, it's kind of the trick of the trade a little bit. You gotta be because that's how they kind of judge. They have to have a system in order to say like, oh, he's this type of athlete or that type of athlete. But when people have time to train for it now, like it's their job to be at their best during the right time. So you kind of just have to do it. It's unfortunate though. Like I feel like another thing scouts have probably learned is that people do that. People train their best, train the right way to run their 40 the best. But that might not be their game speed. So I think they also have to watch, game film like, oh, he keeps up with this person who supposedly ran this, or this guy supposedly ran this, but he doesn't actually keep up with this person who ran that. So, it goes a lot into scouting. It's a tough job, I think, but sometimes you can hit, sometimes you can miss, but the numbers kind of give you a guideline on what you're looking at.
On that same theme of speed real quick, how fast is Tyreek Hill?